Two Delta airline workers were killed after a Boeing 757 tire unexpectedly exploded at Atlanta's International Airport. This tragic incident took place early yesterday morning. The 31-year-old plane had been grounded since its last flight from Las Vegas on Sunday. In a statement, Delta said, quote, "The Delta family is heartbroken at the loss of two team members and the injury of another following an incident this morning. We've extended our full support to family members and colleagues during this incredibly difficult time." Now, we don't know yet what caused the explosion. Delta is cooperating with authorities and conducting a full investigation to determine what happened.
Now, it's been a tough year for Boeing. Poor Boeing. Two Boeing whistleblowers who expressed concerns about Boeing's safety and quality control systems died this year. The company also had a plane with a door blown off. Another plane veered off a runway when its landing gear collapsed. Another had a wheel fall off. Plus, Boeing's Starliner is stuck in space after several issues with the spacecraft's thrusters. So, I feel very bad for the pilots and engineers and everyone affected. I can't say I feel bad for Boeing because what these whistleblowers seem to indicate is that Boeing was aware of the safety concerns of their aircraft and forced their employees and pilots on the airlines they sell their aircraft to deal with that and face the worst possible outcome of death. And that was a risk seemingly Boeing was willing to make by flying people on these planes that apparently they knew were unsafe, and then the whistleblowers just mysteriously die. I don't know. Very, very sketchy, Robbie.
Yeah, this is very sketchy. Obviously, this is terrible, very sad for the people who were killed. A third was injured. Yeah, so to be clear, this wasn't on the plane like while it was flying through the air. This was an out of a plane that was not in commission, that was being worked on, I think. So, this is really very sad and incredible that this could happen. I mean, what is going on? Boeing has to answer questions for the safety of its plane. I mean, no, this should be under safe situation, right? This is not, I don't know, in the sky where something can go wrong. This is they were in the process of checking in on this plane, and Boeing just has a tremendous number of questions it's going to have to face. I think people are starting to feel unsafe about flying on these planes, even though there hasn't been a plane crash in America in years and years and years, but there have been people killed on Boeing aircrafts because of what seems like negligence, what the whistleblowers have said is negligence, and then we've had these whistleblowers die under, as you say, mysterious circumstances, even though evidence and police have suggested they were suicides. But even in cases where the person said, "I would never commit suicide. If I'm found dead, it's not suicide," and then suicide supposedly happens. I don't know. It looks very fishy, very sketchy. I don't know whether this tire blowout is related to the other problems the planes are having, but something is clearly wrong. If it's Boeing, I ain't going, is what people are going to start saying.
Yeah, the tire exploding. I mean, I've been on the highway and I've seen trucks' tires get too hot, get too worn down, and blow off. I cannot imagine a Boeing 757 tire exploding. It honestly makes sense that that is something that could be, catastrophic and deadly. And a company that's willing to make that calculation of profits over basic safety protocols, a lot of the time there's a cost benefit analysis of what it costs in time and materials and personnel to ensure every possible safety protocol is ticked off and is in place in the first onset. When you write these safety protocols for your staff that are meant to check the aircraft, that are meant to build aircraft that are safe, they make some calculation that actually it's not worth it, that actually the lawsuit is cheaper than if we assess the cost of doing business over 10 years with the safety protocol in place, with this risk analysis done, mitigating as much safety risk as possible. It's just not their first priority. They don't have family members who are pilots, apparently. They don't have family members on the Delta crew. They don't care. They're making a calculation for these planes to sell as many as possible at the highest prices possible with the least amount of safety protocols. So Boeing, who has a track record of making decisions in that manner, yeah, it makes sense that a tire would explode, even though that's not the typical thing we've seen with the Boeing. But you hear this story and oh, was it a Boeing? They have that reputation now.
Hmm.
And because we have this oligopoly, what other airlines are where else are they buying planes from? Airbus? I can't think of another type of plane between Boeing and Airbus that I've flown on, and I flew quite frequently. That's a huge issue, the lack of competition in the plane production market. It's hard to break into in the first place, but sounds like we need some more, Robbie.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's competition in the space category. Boeing was going to be playing a role in bringing home those astronauts. NASA said no. NASA did not trust Boeing's plans for that, voting instead to award the contract to Elon Musk's SpaceX, which will be able to rescue those astronauts in the coming months. I think that's also an indictment of the culture of negligence and disregard for safety going on at the company right now.
Yeah, and I think about flying on these airlines. When I fly on an Airbus, I feel safer because I've heard less stories about them. But how frequently I fly on a plane that's like a Boeing 7, what is it, 737, 727. There's a big red notice called updated safety protocols on all of their packets. They've seemingly made some adjustments that make the planes more secure and have updated their safety protocols and are more intentional about telling people what to do in the event that something goes wrong on the aircraft. But it's still terrifying. And the fact that pilots are expected to fly these planes with known safety concerns, and we don't even get to hear what some of these whistleblowers really had to say or all of the information they had because they were suicided, which is a real verb. You can kill someone and make it look like a suicide. The CIA has done this extensively. I wouldn't put it past the people at Boeing to do it. I don't have any evidence of it, but I think when you have enough circumstances around it, it becomes very suspicious, and many people are asking questions about these whistleblowers' deaths. But honestly, if I was a pilot, I would be just as upset, expected to fly people on a plane that is unsafe. And, it's not that the airlines care about the customer so much. They don't care that I lose my luggage or my flight gets delayed and I get stuck in Chicago. But having someone stranded at an airport versus having someone on a plane that is unsafe, very different calculations being made. And it's really a profit over people's lives scenario with Boeing.
We'll be back with more Rising right after this.